and welcome back to Gav Goes In. Big up yourselves each and every time. Make sure we're smashing that like button. Make sure we're subbing to the channel. And of course, make sure you share the channel as well. Yeah, listen, guys, let's get into it anyway. Obviously, you've seen some news today that Bruno Fernandes, obviously, release clause. I think it's set at 52 million, I believe. And yeah, it's active in this transfer window. And for me, I'll put the question to you guys. Does this deal actually happen in January? Does it actually happen? I'm not gonna hide away from the fact that I'm someone that definitely does believe that Bruno Fernandes, should be moved on. I know Bruno's got his fans, but I think a player that is what's how old's Bruno now? Is he 30 or 31? I think a player that's going to be turning 32 next season, and the fact that he's got a release clause, and again, it's going to be interesting to see, yeah, if there's going to be any clubs that actually do come in for Bruno, because I think Bruno's got this rep for some reason in this country as if he's, one of the top players in the world. Now, just judging by that, I think we have to be serious and say, if he is looked at as one of the top players in the world, surely, we should be seeing, the likes of a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich, a PSG, these kind of teams come in for him. And for me, that's not going to happen. So I think I have to ask myself, where does Bruno Fernandes end up? I think Saudi is the most likeliest destination. But again, does Bruno want to stay in Europe? If he wants to stay in Europe, I can't actually think what kind of team would come in for him. I think maybe an Atletico Madrid, but they might be stacked in that position already. So it comes to a point, where, what does actually happen to Bruno Fernandes? Because I think the fact that he's got his release clause of 52 million, that is an affordable release clause, you would say, for a Saudi. I think Saudi won't have any problem paying that release clause for me. But it's just one of them things. Does Bruno want to go? Does Bruno want to go Saudi, or does he still think that he's got unfinished business in a sense in Europe? Big up to Fitz, big up my guy each and every time for coming through. Big up. But guys, let me know what you think about Bruno Fernandes. You think Bruno Fernandes leaves this month? There's been news today. Man United are trying to push through with a bid for Carlos Baleba, and again, there's no surprise there, really. I mean, Carlos Baleba, has always been the number one target for Man United during this summer. And the talk of the Conor Gallagher's, as I said to you guys before, there's no part of me that thinks Conor Gallagher should be a Manchester United player. So, yeah, for me, I wanna see what happens really with this whole Bruno, the whole Kobe thing as well. Do Ineos let Amarim decide the likes of Kobe Minor's future, the likes of Joshua Zirkzee? Because I'm telling you this now, if those two happen to leave in this window, then I think Man United are going to regret this. They're going to regret letting an academy prospect leave and letting someone like Joshua Zirkzee go as well. Someone that, for me, hasn't really been given the best platform or the opportunity to show what he's about. There is obviously interest from Roma, but I'm just hoping there's some sort of hope that that Zirkzee can at least stay. And I do believe him and Kobe both stay, and I see the manager Ruben Amorim being moved on. Big up to Fitz says, I hope Bruno leaves as soon as possible, but I can't see it until summer at the earliest after the World Cup. Innit? But again, I think the fact that he's got this release clause, I think there's definitely something in it for me, and, do I believe there's any other team in Europe that come in for him? I think that's going to be the question, because I can't see no team in Europe pursuing a Bruno Fernandes, because of his age, because of his wage as well. I think a lot of these things are going to be taken into consideration for me. And again, what's Bruno on at Man United? He's on 300 grand a week at Manchester United. Obviously him going to Saudi will be a lot more. But I just don't see no team in Europe paying him that kind of wage at the age he's as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I definitely do think that that this is something to keep an eye on, you know. And I think a lot of this might actually be linked to Ruben Amorim. I think if um, if Ruben Amorim if Ruben Amorim does go, you know, then you have to kind of think that that is linked to the Bruno Fernandes thing. So that's something, yeah, we got to keep an eye on. Can you make me a mod, please? Guys, I don't make anyone mods, like, and especially if you're asking, you know. Again, if you're showing up consistently to the channel, you know, and you're helping the channel to grow, and you've got positive chat in there, then again, that's something that I'll always look at. But yeah, big up, man. Happy New Year. But I don't just make anyone mod. As I said, you have to come in there regularly and show support to the channel, you know. But big up yourself for coming through. Big up to Lumi each and every time. Fitz says, do you know the clause price, Gav? Yeah. So the price for Bruno Fernandes is 60 million euros, which is I believe 52 million pounds. Again, that is an affordable price for a Saudi. So again, we're gonna see what Saudi actually do think of Bruno, because the fact that they were looking to pay 100 million for Bruno, they can now come back in for him and get him at an affordable price. And I believe the clause that Bruno Fernandes is on, I'm not sure if it's only for clubs outside the Premier League, or is it outside Europe? I'm not too sure. So yeah, I think it's one of them things where I'll be very interested to see what teams come in for him. Again, I don't believe no European clubs come in for Bruno because of what he's being paid at, obviously at Man United, and what he's and obviously you look at the age side of it as well. So yeah, I can't see him staying in Europe if he does leave Manchester United. You know, would he go back to Sporting Lisbon? Not for me. I think Saudi's the obvious path that he's going to take. But yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you reckon any European team comes in for Bruno Fernandes? And is the clause that Bruno Fernandes has, is that only eligible to teams outside the Premier League, or is it outside Europe? Gav, Maresca wants the City job. Yeah, listen, this is why this is part of the reason why Chelsea parted ways with him. Obviously, probably an amicable agreement. But I think if you're Enzo Maresca, I think, you know, that you have every right to be not happy with what was going on at Chelsea, because, you know, from what I heard today, obviously he didn't want Garnacho. You know, there's probably I'm gonna say he didn't want Garnacho. I don't think he wanted Gittins either. And the fact that he lost players like Madueke, who again wasn't the level that Chelsea should be, you know, having in their team. I think there's no one on here that can say that the likes of Garnacho and Gittins are a better signing than what Madueke was, because I'd have Madueke ahead of them two, definitely. You know, Liam Delap, I like Liam Delap as a player, but he's been poor. You know, João Pedro, as I said yesterday as well, he's kind of fallen off. So, yeah, it's one of them things, man, that Maresca can feel fed up, really, at what's happened. And I think the fact that he was in talks with, from what we're hearing, in talks with Man City to replace Pep eventually when he goes, I think Chelsea are one of them teams for me that are, you know, they're one of them teams that they are an elite team when you actually think about it. And I think the fact they're hearing that their current manager is talking to a rival, you know, because Chelsea will be looking at City as a rival. So I think the very fact that they've got wind that he's doing that, you can't really blame them for parting ways with him. You know, I think it was, you know, it's a move that big clubs do. So yeah, but I think Maresca can find himself hard done by, really, because, you know, winning 2 trophies, you know, the fact that he's hasn't been given the players that he should have been given as well, really, in the sense of winning those 2 trophies. That's definitely something that should have been looked at. But yeah, he's going to have something else lined up, you know. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if it's a Man City. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a one of the big teams in the world. Even, I mean, I wouldn't rule out Real Madrid. Maresca could be in the frame for Real Madrid. So yeah, I think all these things need to be looked at for me, definitely. Um, Gav, I told you in the summer Chelsea will have problems, and now look. Yeah, listen, I mean, again, I didn't really. I think there's no one here that can predict that they were going to have a bad season based on them winning the Club World Cup, because I thought them winning the Club World Cup, they would have got extra money from that as well, and you would have thought to yourself they would have gone and spent big in the summer. I mean, to think that their outlay on players was Garnacho, Gittins, Liam Delap, João Pedro. I think those four all came in. I think they're the only four that came in. And again, João Pedro and Delap for me are decent, but you wouldn't have thought after winning the Club World Cup, and the Europa. Yeah, Dario Asugo as well, Yoro Hato. These guys all came in, but I think if you're a Chelsea fan, you wouldn't have definitely saw that window. They should have definitely brought in players, that are, regarded as some of the best players in the world. And that would have shown intent from Chelsea to see where they're going to finish this season. I think definitely this season, they're in a race for a top four battle, and again, there's links obviously that they're going to bring through Liam Rosenior. And yeah, for me, Rosenior is a young coach coming up, but that's not really what Chelsea should be looking at, really, if we're honest, But that's their problem, innit? Not at the current squad, but Leverkusen have a lot of money this season thanks to Liverpool. Yeah, Jarrell Quansah. Quansah went there, sorry. Yeah, Verts, Frimpong. Yeah, but I'm not sure. Where Leverkusen in the league? I think they might be, third or fourth in the league this season? I'm not too sure, but yeah, well, I wouldn't expect Maresca to go there, if I'm honest, What do you think of Sesko? I mean, again, Sesko, I feel like I've said this so many times, yeah. Sesko was a player that I didn't want United signing, because there was other strikers for me that Man United should have targeted, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Ivan Toney, Johan Visser, and I think the reason for those three, as I've said previously, those three have all shown that they can score goals in this league. And the fact that they weren't really seriously targeted, and then United went for Benjamin Sesko. The only positive I can say with the Benjamin Sesko one is that Sesko came in, which meant that Højlund left. And that's a massive positive for me. But what I would say is that a lot of this comes onto the fans, because a lot of fans were saying Man United should go and get Gyökeres because Gyökeres scored a lot of goals in Portugal. And all of a sudden, Gyökeres goes to Arsenal, and then now Sesko is seen as a decent signing because of what? So you've gone from a 30-goal-a-season striker in Portugal to get a guy that scored, I think, 12 in the Bundesliga. So again, that's why it didn't make no sense for me. But yeah, it's one of them things. Like, I think Sesko's definitely got qualities, but is he someone that I see as being a top striker for years to come for Manchester United? I think it's hard to say at the moment. It's hard to say at the moment because he's not been helped by the system, and the fact that, he's been in and out of the team in terms of whether it's been through injury or Amorim just hasn't played him. Yeah, he's still got it all to prove. But I think him and Xerxes, for me, Xerxes should be the main number 9. But him and Xerxes, for me, I'm not really gonna get onto them too much because this system this system kills the striker. As bad as Rasmus Højlund was, the system killed him as well. But the difference between Xerxes and Sesko for me is that their link play is a lot better than Rasmus Højlund's. So, but there's no striker really that's gonna thrive in this system. It don't matter who you are. You could be Harry Kane, you could be Erling Haaland. You're not gonna thrive in this system where you're isolated a lot of the time. So, yeah, that's the thing. Um, nah, Gav, I meant potentially Bruno to Leverkusen. Oh, okay. You know what? Bruno for me wouldn't go Leverkusen. I think Bruno Fernandes will feel that he's better than Bayer Leverkusen. You know, I think if Bruno Fernandes was to stay in Europe, the only teams he would go to, for me, in my opinion, would be an Atletico Madrid, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, PSG. Um, yeah, even if it was Italy, you know, probably an Inter Milan, you would say. I think they're the only teams that he would feel that he could go to in his country. But for me, don't them teams are not coming in for him. Not at his age, not at how much he will cost as well, and not how much he's earning. So I think the European move for me is out of the question for Bruno Fernandes. But I think the one factor that Bruno can probably say, you know, that he is worth a gamble on for these clubs is his GA. But again, as we know, GA means nothing really in the grand scheme of it, because you can get GA all you want for your club, but if your club's struggling, you know, and you're a player that is contributed to that, what does the GA actually mean? You know, and GA should only be used for me as a bonus, you know. And big up to Fitz as well, because Fitz actually gave me, you know, an idea that which I'm gonna do actually. So if you guys have checked my next gen 50 that I've done before, which is the best 50 young players in world football up and coming, I'm actually gonna do one on, you know, players of the past, you know. And again, I'm gonna delve into a lot of the players of the past that maybe some of you have even forgotten about as well. So yeah, man, I'm gonna definitely do that, man. Definitely do that. I hear that Bruno's ego would probably rule out Leverkusen. Yeah, I think it would. I think it would. And again, is Bruno Fernandes better than a Bayer Leverkusen? I wouldn't say so. But he would probably think to himself, the fact that this fan base, the Man United fan base, have gassed him up to a level that he's not on, he'll definitely think he's better than Bayer Leverkusen, you know? So, yeah, I can't see that happening. But, you know, I think that's probably a possibility that he should really explore, if I'm honest. But, yeah, I can't see it, man. But, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if there's any European team that comes in for him. Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if any European team comes in for him. Guehi wants Arsenal apparently. Yeah, I've not heard that, man. I've not heard that. I think Guehi's nailed on to go to Liverpool. Nailed on. Personally, for me, I can't see Mark Guehi turning around and choosing Arsenal over Liverpool. And again, that's nonsense, because if you've got Saliba who's signed a new contract, Gabriel who's arguably your best defender, even Guehi would think to himself, there's no space for him there, you know. So, and they've signed Mosquera as well. I think he's out injured. Hincapie is coming as well. So yeah, that's definitely not happening. And again, Guehi for me is going to go to Liverpool. I can't see him going anywhere else. But if I'm Chelsea, you know, I'm trying to get Guehi back to the club, because they definitely need a Mark Guehi and his leadership at the back there. And I think a partnership of Guehi and Wesley Fofana would actually be decent for Chelsea. But who knows, man? So by the same logic, though, Bruno to Saudi is unlikely as well. But summer, maybe he'll be more open to a Saudi move, knowing no one came in for the clause. But again, what the reason I would say, Fitch, yeah, that I can see the Saudi one, because if Saudi wanted him in the summer and United rejected it, you would say, if he's got a release clause that is lower, why wouldn't they come back? The only reason they won't come back for him in January is because they probably have moved past Bruno Fernandes, you know. But if they're set on Bruno Fernandes, then I don't see any reason why they wouldn't come back in for him, you know, and they'd be getting him for cheaper as well. So yeah, I think it's something to keep an eye on. And the fact that Man United now today have been linked with getting Baleba in January, I think everyone might look at the fact that that means Kobe's going, yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's Bruno Fernandes. And for me, it needs to be. I don't think Mohamed Salah will come back to Liverpool. It's nearly been 4 games. I think he just dropped out. Nah, Salah's in AFCON, man. Salah's at AFCON. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. Guys, what do you think of the Crystal Palace signing Brennan Johnson? What do you think? Club record deal. I think that's a good move for Brennan Johnson. Brighton re-signed Pascal Gross as well. True. Plus the money they save could go towards a signing fee or something, innit? I think they're planning on how to spend the Kobe money, unfortunately. Bro, listen, I don't think Kobe's going, man. I'm going to stick to my guns and say Kobe's not going anywhere. You know, they'll be foolish to get rid of Kobe, knowing this manager is doing what he's doing currently at the moment. So, yeah, I can't see it, man. Definitely can't see it. Palace needed a good winger. But again, Palace don't play with wingers. So Palace play a three at the back. So they play with 10s. So that means he's going to be battling with Ismail Assar and Yeremy Pino. And obviously Nketiah plays as a 10 sometimes as well. So, yeah. I think he's going to be basically battling with Ismail Assar, and obviously Ismail Assar's on AFCON as well, so that's probably why they've looked at him and thought it's a good signing, you know. I don't rate Brennan Johnson, to be honest. I think he's poor business for Palace. Yeah, I'm with the same opinion, Fitz, man. I think Brennan Johnson's poor as well. I think for 35 million, I'm actually shocked that Palace couldn't identify someone that's probably better than him for slightly cheaper. So yeah, as I said, man, I'm shocked that they've gone for Brennan Johnson. I can kind of see what they're doing, because they're looking at Brennan Johnson as someone that can score goals in this league. You know, he's used to the Premier League as well, so that's probably what they're looking at. But to spend 35 million and break your club record is odd for Brennan Johnson for me. You know. How's it going, Gav? Hope you're okay. Yeah, big up, man. All good. All good. Happy New Year as well. Hope you're doing well. Long time. Yeah. Bro, there you go. There you go. To think Cherky was cheaper than Brennan Johnson is madness. There you go. And that's why I'm looking at that deal thinking Crystal Palace surely must have seen someone else. Well, obviously didn't, but how they've come to Brennan Johnson as a January deal for 35 million, and they didn't identify no one else for cheaper that can do a similar job. Madness. Yeah, absolute madness. But guys, you know what? I think this Carlos Baleba deal is going to happen, you know, in January. I can see it happening. And I'm glad, because Man United need Baleba in that midfield. You know, Baleba, and then go and get me an Adam Walton in the summer. And then have Baleba, Kobe, Walton. And if you want to keep Casemiro's experience around for next season, and then bring Sekou Kone through, you know, bring some of the youngsters through as well. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. But Bruno and Ugarte, for me, have to be moved on. Definitely. Yeah, I think it's a good decision, and it might do well for the team. Who's that for? Is that for Brennan Johnson talking about there? Is that Brennan Johnson? Guys, anyone watch the Sunderland and Man City game yesterday? Anyone see that game yesterday? Yeah, Brennan. Okay, yeah, I think Brennan Johnson, for me, the only issue I have with the Palace deal is that 35 million. That's the only reason. I think if they got a loan deal, I think a loan deal would have been better to see how he does. But to pay 35 million and break the club record, it's odd for me. It's odd business, you know. Yeah, to be fair, you know what? Sunderland, yeah. Sunderland are a very good team. They're gonna be a tough team to beat, man. And you know what annoyed me though, more than anything. At least 3 games yesterday messed up my bets, my ACCA bets, because I had Liverpool down as beating Leeds, I had City down as beating Sunderland, and I had Tottenham and Brentford both teams to score, and they all let me down, man. Messed up my bet, man. Messed it up, but it happens, innit? It happens. Listen, Sunderland are a very good team at home. I think there's a record going around saying that Sunderland against the traditional top 6 teams, I don't think they've lost a game. So they're a tough team to beat, man, at home. And City had the chance, obviously, in the first half. They got disallowed at the goal, but yeah, man, they're a tough team to beat at home, man. And they fully deserve the draw. Kayhan Mirando, suck your mother, man. Don't come in here and tell me to shut up. You ain't got to watch this. Go and suck your mother. Simple. Anyone coming in here talking shit, I ain't got time for it. You're not forced to watch the channel, so go elsewhere. It's that simple. Same, bro. City and Liverpool for me. Yes. Wait, did City get beat by Sunderland last season? Sunderland are pretty decent. They dominated quite well last night. Yeah, listen, I agree. I agree, man. They're a difficult team, man. They got a lot of physicality in their team. You know, Erling Haaland was getting roughed up by Nordi Mukiele. And again, Nordi Mukiele used to be at Red Bull Leipzig and he was at PSG as well. And he played as a right back. So to think that he's playing centre back and holding his own says a lot, man. So yeah, man, he's Regis Labrie, man, he's doing a good job there. You know, Granit Xhaka in the midfield as well as a captain. You know, he's solid. I mean, Brian Brobby was giving Brian Brobby was giving Diaz problems with his strength. You know, but to think that they're missing 6 players, I think, from AFCON as well. Like when them players from AFCON come back, man, they could be a massive threat, man. I'm not saying they're not gonna finish in Champions League, but I think the fact that I think they might be what, 7th, I think, in the league or something like that. They're gonna be a problem, man. I'm telling you, when they get their players back as well. Because at home, man, they look difficult to beat. Big up, man. Big up to Andre Soron. Hi, bro. How are you? Yeah, I'm all good, man. All good. Hope you're well as well. Happy New Year. Obviously, I guess it's your first time in there. You know, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you smash up the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel as well. And make sure you share the channel. But yeah, this is a football channel. You know, I'm a Man United supporter, but we talk all kinds of football on this channel. So yeah, big up for coming on, man. Big up to Kaylee Dickens, says, I support Liverpool. What do you think of Liverpool this season? Do you think Liverpool are having a good season, or do you think Slot might be sacked at the end of the season? I'll tell you one thing though, that game against Leeds yesterday, yeah, it had me looking at 2 things, yeah. The first thing was Liverpool are poor this season, and secondly, my team, Man United, we've got Leeds next week in the Roses Derby on the weekend in the Roses Derby, yeah, and I just can't see us beating Leeds because the way Leeds played against Liverpool, Liverpool never looked like scoring. So it's going to be a difficult game, man, against Leeds. And they're at home. You know, Calvert-Lewin didn't start and obviously come off the bench, scored, but was obviously ruled out for offside. But he scored in his last 7 games starting. So, yeah, man, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a massive problem for me, you know. Sunderland got promoted. So Sunderland got promoted last season, unless they beat City in the cup last season. Not sure. Yeah, I can't remember Sunderland. Oh, you're talking about before. Oh, okay. So I think last time Sunderland were in the Premier League, I think that's when they beat Man City. I think that's what he's talking about. I think Klopp was better last season. Klopp wasn't there last season. It was Slot. Slot was there last season. I think you meant the season before. But yeah, listen. I think if you're a Liverpool fan, I think the majority of Liverpool fans are still in love with Klopp anyway. Because obviously Klopp done a hell of a lot for that club, but I think Slot is trying to build his own thing there, and I think until the senior players, the Van Dijks, um, the Salahs, the Allisons. I think, well, Allison's not that much of a big problem because he's a goalkeeper. But I think Salah and Van Dijk especially, I think until they go, I think Slot, how long he stays there for, I don't think Slot's gonna ever have his full stamp on that team. You know. But who knows? I think Salah could be gone end of the season anyway. I think definitely he'll go end of the season. As I said, Yankuba Minte needs to be the replacement for him, for me. But yeah, I think to think that Liverpool having a poor season, they're still in fourth place. Is it no, sorry, they're joint fourth with Liverpool on 30 points, I believe. So, and I think Man United might be on 30 actually as well. So yeah, man, I think there's definitely still time for them to try and get higher than where they are now. But I think yesterday's game against Leeds, yeah, they were poor, man. They were very poor. I'm a massive fan of Florian Wirtz. I know Wirtz hasn't been good this season, but he couldn't really get into the game yesterday. Ekatike was a bit isolated. Probably should have had a penalty as well. I think Gravenberch was good. Gravenberch was good. But yeah, the subs didn't really have an impact. Good to see Rio come off the bench. And again, Rio was a threat when he got on the ball, man. Trying to take on his man. He was a threat. Frimpong was decent in the first half, but I think they're lacking a cutting edge, Liverpool. And I think, yeah, I think they're gonna need to massively improve, man. But their next game's Arsenal. I think Arsenal's their next game, so they're gonna need to play a lot better than they played against Leeds, against Arsenal away from home. So good evening. It's surprising that two of the promoted teams are doing rather well this season. Yeah, big up, man. Big up to Simon. Big up. Again, I had Sunderland, all the promoted teams, Sunderland, Burnley, and who was the other team that got promoted? Sunderland, Burnley, and guys, who's the other team that got promoted? Sunderland, Burnley. Who's the other team? I forgot. Sunderland, Burnley, and Leeds. Yeah, I had all three of them teams to get relegated. Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that I think Sunderland, the way they've started, they're definitely gonna stay up for me. And again, they've more or less bought a whole new team in a sense anyway. The way Leeds are playing right now, I want to say Leeds are unbeaten in 6 games, I believe. It's six or 7 games. So I think at this moment in time, they're going to stay up. I think Burnley are going to struggle. But yeah, Leeds and Sunderland, man, they're doing very well this season. Very well. Yeah, last night's football was boring. It was. And it messed up my bets as well, man. So yeah. To think that there was what? I think there was 3-0 nils. 3-0 nils. Liverpool, Sunderland. Liverpool, Leeds, Sunderland, Man City, and Tottenham and Brentford. Yeah, 3-0 nils, man, just killed me. So let's hope, man, tomorrow and Sunday, there's a lot more goals going in. Big up to Lumi, says, do you rate Vissa? Yeah, I do. I think Vissa was a striker that Man United should have been targeting. And I've always said this, yeah, to think that Man United signed Brian Mbeumo, and then you had Vissa that literally was playing with him the season just gone. I mean, why wouldn't you go and get Vissa as well? You know, they've got that link. They've got that link that they know from Brentford. You know, Hobbs and Shaw. You know, as well. Like, I'm surprised United didn't even make an inquiry for Vissa, and maybe because they're looking at his age. Who knows? But yeah, he's at Newcastle now, and to be honest with you, Newcastle have got two very good strikers in Vissa and Baltimore. So yeah, man, I definitely think yeah, I like Vissa. I think Vissa's a good player, you know. But I think the problem that Newcastle might have is the way Newcastle play. They only play with one striker. Now, who's the striker going to be? Because you know they're going to rotate them, but really and truly, Walter Marda for me probably brings more to the team. But Vissa's obviously, you know, he's proven in this league. So so yeah, they're gonna have a problem, man. But again, they've got Champions League football. You know, they've got obviously the cups. So yeah, they can rotate their team, man. But I think when it comes to Eddie Howe picking his main striker, you know, I'm not. I think at the moment it might be Walter Marda, but you know, it could be wrong. Obviously, Vissa scored in his last game as well. So Brentford always get good strikers. Before Embuemo, it was Tony. But if we're talking about central strikers, because obviously Embuemo is a wide forward, but the central strikers, you know, you look at Ivan Tony, Johan Vissa, they got Igor Thiago now as well. And guys, I think Igor Thiago might be in with a shout to go to the World Cup. You know, I spoke about this before because if I'm looking at Brazil's central strikers, you know, Richarlison, I mean, Cunha won't play nine. So yeah, Richarlison's the only nine I'm thinking of other than Igor Thiago. I mean, who else is there? I don't think there's no one else. Endrick, but Endrick's just gone to Leon on loan, but he's got to do something to get back into that squad. So yeah, I don't think they've got too many central strikers, man. And you know what? You know what's mad? Yeah, was João Pedro, but João Pedro is more of a 10 for me. He's more of a 10, but yeah. So I think at the moment, João Pedro and Richarlison are probably the main two that you'd probably say are the options for Brazil. But I think it just shows you really that, you know, Brazil had strikers like R9, Adriano, you know, obviously Bobby Firmino as well. You know, even before that, Bebeto, anyone remembers him. So they've always had strikers, number 9 strikers. Luis Fabiano. Pretty sure there's someone else as well. Oh yeah, Fred. Yeah, they've had some number 9 strikers, but I think that the batch of strikers they've got now, again, is quite concerning. But they've got obviously the striker at Nottingham Forest as well, Igor Jesus. You know, who's quite a handful, but I don't think he'll be going to the World Cup. So yeah, guys, make sure we're smashing the like button and make sure we're subbing to the channel and make sure we're sharing the channel as well. So now that the window is open, time to go shopping and chopping. I wonder who's the first player is going to be coming into our club. Yeah, big up to Simon. I think it's looking like, but you know what? It's looking like Baleba. I think Baleba will be signed. You know, I just got a feeling that that Baleba could be someone that United definitely pursue. Man, I think obviously all the talk at the moment is they've inquired about him. You know, I think United actually put a bid in for him. I'm gonna say they put a bid in for him. Obviously he's at AFCON, you know, but I think they put a bid in for him, and they're obviously interested in a few other players as well. You know, Ayub Buadi as well, who looks decent. And there's a few others as well. But yeah, man, I think Baleba's obviously always been the number 1 choice for myself anyway. So yeah, let's see what happens. But I think Man United press on with this deal for me, you know. That Mateta from Palace is fire. Jean-Philippe Mateta should have been a striker that we signed in the summer. I said this from time ago. You know, I said it from time ago. He Premier League proven, experienced. You know, obviously can obviously do the link play as well. Can score goals in this league. He was the guy that United should have gone for. You know, and I'm praying Joshua Zirkzee doesn't go anywhere. I don't think he will anyway. But for me, if he does go, I mean, do I see Palace selling Mateta in January? I don't. And in actual fact, I'm gonna say so. I'm gonna go on record and say this. Yeah, Crystal Palace are not gonna sell Mateta in January. They're not, because they're in the Conference League. You know, they're trying to get back. They're trying to get into Europe again, and they're gonna sell their main striker, and then who they're gonna replace him with. So Mateta's not going anywhere for me in January unless Man United, if they do get him, you know, make a bid of probably upwards of 50 million, which I can't see happening. But yeah, for me, I can't see Mateta going anywhere. But yeah, Mateta is the guy that we should have signed in the summer, no doubt. Bruno leaving is for the better, but not in January. You know what? I disagree. Big up to Sub CV. I disagree, because for me, if Man United are bringing in Baleba, yeah, and you sell Bruno Fernandes, who knows, man? That could be the money to go and get a couple of players. Whether you get another midfielder to go with Baleba, you know, the main thing for me is the system change. Because if you change this system, you know, and obviously sack the manager, Kobe Manu, who's been a forgotten man, comes back into contention. So that's technically like a new midfielder, because really and truly, he hasn't been used. So if you think of Casemiro, you think of Kobe, if Baleba comes in, you know, you go and get another midfielder, you know, you promote one of the youth guys. I want to see Sekou Kone get some game time as well. All of a sudden, there's options there. But I don't think this club should be hanging their hat on Bruno Fernandes. As I said, the guy is going to be 32 next season. You know, there's money that you can get from this player. You know, he's on a lot of money as well, as it is. I don't think there's any conversation, whether it's January or whether it's in the summer. But this player has to be moved on for me, you know? Richarlison is solid bench player, but first choice for Brazil seems weird considering the great 9 they've had. Fitz, who do you think should be the number 9 striker for Brazil come the World Cup then? I think the fact that Endrick's gone on loan is clever, you know, because if he starts scoring some goals, then I reckon he might come into contention, you know. So it'd be very interesting to see. Gav, what do you think? What do you think to Matty? What do you think Matty Cash at Villa? Or what would you take? Wait, Gav, what do you think? Matty Cash at Villa or Watkins? I wouldn't take either, personally. I wouldn't take either. You know, I think Matty Cash and Watkins work well for Aston Villa, but they're not the kind of players that I want to see at Manchester United, personally. You know, and again, Man United standards need to be higher, man. I'm sick and tired of Man United just making do with certain players. When they're targeting players like Baleba, Baleba's a good signing, because Baleba, for me, if Man United don't sign him, he will be going to a Liverpool, a Chelsea, a Man City, you know, a PSG, Barca, Madrid, you know, Atletico Madrid. He will end up at one of them teams, Bayern Munich. He will end up at one of them teams if Man United don't sign him. Don't listen to people that are saying that there's no clubs coming in for him. I guarantee you, if Man United miss out on Baleba, his next club will be one of them clubs I just said. Guarantee you. So they're the kind of players I want to see Man United be targeting, you know. Matty Cash, is Matty Cash better than Mazraoui? No. Is he better than Dallo? Questionable. I don't know. And Ollie Watkins, for me, again, Ollie Watkins is a proven Premier League player, but there's no sort of longevity with Ollie Watkins, in my opinion. I think Ollie Watkins in his 30s now, I think. And it'll be another stopgap signing, which Man United can't be making. And again, Ollie Watkins, for me, isn't a Manchester United player that I'm used to seeing. You know, there's a lot of them at this club right now, but definitely not Ollie Watkins for me. Walton, Muniz, Mateta, and Guehi will all be at big clubs next season. You know what? That's a mad one. You know what? I forgot about him, Rodrigo Muniz. Lumi, where do you reckon Rodrigo Muniz will end up then? I think Walton is going to end up at... I can see Walton at Man City or Chelsea for me. Mateta, again, Man United or someone else might come in for him. Guehi, Liverpool. Where do you think Rodrigo Muniz will end up? Because he's someone that actually slipped my mind. He's actually a good striker as well, but I just don't know where he'll end up. Because there was talk about him moving on in the summer. And then obviously Fulham convinced him to stay. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Semenyo's going to Man City, yeah. That's being finalised today. I wonder if City allow Semenyo to play against Arsenal. I think they should personally, you know. But who knows? Swap Bruno for Ivan Toney. Thoughts? I would love that, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I heard that Ivan Toney might need to stay another season or stay to the end of the season at Saudi. Something to do with the tax. Because I think if he does leave, he's got to pay something like 14 million in taxes or something like that, from what I heard. So again, I would love that, but I can't see it happening. You know, I think Ivan Toney might be a next season, end of the season kind of thing. Exactly, Simon. Yeah, if Bruno had left for a Saudi club last time, money up front, 100 mil, and 3 players brought. Again, do I trust Ineos to bring in the right players? I mean, to be honest with you, their transfer window so far has been decent. The players that they brought in since they've come to the club, but the very fact that Bruno Fernandes was left in the hands of really Ruben Amorim, let's say, doesn't make sense. The club should have showed some balls and just pulled the plug on Bruno and the manager. But how both of them are still here, and I said this at the start of the summer, I said Bruno Fernandes and Ruben Amorim are 2 of the biggest problems. You know what I mean? So if we sell Bruno, we should go out and snatch Anderson before City does it in the summer. Yeah. But again, it depends what Elliot Anderson sees his future. For me, yeah, and I'll tell you why. I've just got a feeling that Elliot Anderson's going to end up at Liverpool. Because, Elliot, again, I'm not saying they're identical players, yeah? But Elliot Anderson, for me, is the closest I've seen in terms of... How can I explain it? Not in terms of the player, yeah? But in terms of, you know, his trajectory, in terms of like, you know, the way he kind of plays... He's the closest to Steven Gerrard for me. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Steven Gerrard, but he's got Steven Gerrard traits in him. And I just got a feeling he's going to end up at Liverpool for me, you know? And I think City get either Walton or Anderson. I think one of them is nailed on going to City. And I think Adam Walton, for me, should be going to Man City because he'll fit right in at Man City. You know, if they're thinking of... you know, Rodri moving on, or if Rodri needs rest time. I know Nico Gonzalez has come and done a good job. But if they got an Adam Walton to go with that, yeah, listen, I think that might be it. And I think they might get him, to be fair. Big up to Gaming with Freddie. Hi, I'm a Norwich fan. Had joined. Big up. Big up yourself, man. I'm not even sure how Norwich are doing this season, but it's been a long time since they've been in the Premier League. You know, I think they got a striker called Josh Sargent. I think he's an American striker. I think he might be their top scorer, if I'm honest. But I ain't really been following them too much. Think Endrick will be the choice, but considering Romario, R9, Adriano, etc., I'm still mad. There you go, bro. I even forgot Romario. You know what I mean? To think that Brazil had R9, Romario, Adriano, and even Luis Fabiano, Fred, Firmino, and now they're talking about Richarlison, Endrick, who's done nothing. Um, Obviously, João Pedro for me is a 10. Igor Jesus hasn't got a call up before. Igor Thiago's doing well. So, yeah, it's mad. Mad. Lewandowski, the best 9 in the world. You know what? He was a few seasons ago. He was 100%. But I think Lewandowski is clearly on a decline right now. And yeah, you know what? I think Lewandowski probably goes to. Trying to think where he goes after this. I think he might go back to Poland. He might go back to Poland. He might do, but yeah, when he was at Bayern Munich, man, there was no doubt in that he was the best number 9 in the world, no doubt. I'm looking at him, Benzema, and like that quartet of Benzema, Luis Suarez, Lewandowski, Sergio Aguero. Yeah, it was hard to pick a top. It was hard to pick the main striker. For me, it's always been Benzema. I think Benzema's the most all-rounded. But again, there were some top strikers, man. Some top strikers. Are you a Man United fan? Big up to Lloyd Miller. I am. I am. What do you think of the Bruno Fernandes leaving in January? Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, I'm a Man United fan, man. I'm a Man United fan, but I'm a football fan first. Whole City will get promoted this season. We are gonna smash up Man United. Boy, I think the way we're playing, probably. You know what I mean? I know you got is it Joe Gelhart up top? You know what I mean? I think he's scoring goals for you guys. But yeah, listen, I wouldn't be surprised, man, because we're in the gutter with this manager. And as I said, man, my energy is always gonna be the same. Until this manager's gone, I just can't see us doing anything serious. So who knows? Who knows? Do I watch the championship? Not all the time. I know Coventry are top. I think they've dropped points in their last 2 games. I think they've had 2 draws. In the last game they drew was against Charlton. But yeah, I'll be honest, man. I don't really watch the championship too much. I used to back in the day, but not really much now. But yeah, Coventry are top, and I think who was second last time I see. I can't actually remember who's second. Actually, can't remember. Um, yeah, I can't remember. Bruno is like Pogba, not consistent enough, goes missing after a couple of good games. To be honest with you, I think that's a disrespect to Pogba because what I would say about Bruno Fernandes, yeah, is Bruno Fernandes is consistent in terms of his fitness record. The guy is obviously apart from now, but he's someone that is always available. And again, that is a positive for any team. But the biggest problem that I have with the Bruno Fernandes thing, yeah, is the fact that I don't like the fact that Bruno Fernandes has been given the keys to Old Trafford. And you hear people saying that he's the best signing since Cantona. The best signing since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, like all this other nonsense that we've been hearing. And I think it's important to know what Bruno Fernandes is. There's people out there that think Bruno Fernandes is a number 10. Never has been a number 10. Never has been. There's a difference between being a number 10 and playing in the number 10. And that's what Bruno does. He can play in a number 10 position, but he's not a number 10. He is actually a box-to-box midfielder, a number 8. Yeah, so that's the first thing. People need to understand what kind of player Bruno is. Bruno's someone that will always get GA because a lot of his game is based around, set pieces. Like he's on every set piece. And to be fair, he has got a decent delivery. He has. But when you're taking every set piece, more or less, the corners, the free kicks, the penalties, you play every game. I don't think people should be surprised at why he gets GA. The main thing people need to look at with Bruno Fernandes is that what does he do in terms of a 90-minute contribution to the team? This is what people need to be looking at, because I've watched Manchester United more or less every game since I can remember. Since I've been a Man United fan, I've more or less watched every game, every Man United game. Yeah, and again, I've watched a lot of Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, and Bruno Fernandes for me, he's the most frustrating player that I've seen in terms of he's someone that will have an average performance, but then people will turn his average performances into a world-class performance because of numbers. And again, I'm from an era where numbers didn't matter. It just didn't matter. No one really cared about numbers because it wasn't what we were watching. We were watching the actual performance. And again, this is why I think when people were saying that Bruno Fernandes is this, is that, as I said, Bruno's someone that will continually get numbers, but his numbers will be to a detriment of the team, because I'd much rather Bruno get no numbers but have a better 90-minute performance and the team thrives as a whole. That's what I would prefer. But again, people just use Bruno's numbers in debates with others, because that's what football's become now. It's become my player versus your player. And again, at Manchester United, watching the teams that we used to watch when they had the likes of Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, the Andersons in there as well, the Nanis, the Park Ji-sungs, the Cantoners, the Giggs, the Beckhams, the Scholes, Roy Keanes. You know what I mean? So many players you can go through, yeah? We didn't care who was scoring the goals. We just didn't care, But people used the Bruno Fernandes debate, the Bruno Fernandes numbers for debates, because when someone says Bruno's not good, the first thing someone points to is his numbers. And really what that means is that you ain't really got an interest in the team. You just got an interest in the player, in what argument that it can be used against. That's the difference, But to say like he's like Pogba, in terms of ability, he's nowhere near Paul Pogba. Like, it's a disrespect. Paul Pogba is probably the closest to Zidane in terms of 6 foot and has, Paul Pogba's got the feet of a winger. He's got an immaculate touch. Like, he can pass long and short. He can shoot. Like, Paul Pogba as a footballer has no weaknesses. He doesn't. So when people are saying he's like Bruno's nowhere, nothing like Paul Pogba. He's nowhere near Paul Pogba. But the one thing people can say about Bruno Fernandes is that consistently he will get more numbers than Pogba. But again, Pogba's game isn't defined by numbers. I think Bruno Fernandes' game is defined by numbers, because if he's not getting numbers, what does he actually do? And this is where it comes down to, unfortunately. Yeah, big up, man. What's the topic? Well, I'm just talking about Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, release clause being set. I think it might be solely for clubs outside the Premier League or outside Europe. I'm guessing, but listen, I think this is something that might be looked at, the Bruno Fernandes thing in this month. I can see it. It's 5 months to go until end of season. If Amorim lasts that long, but I'll settle for anyone who can get this team back on its feet. Big up to Simon. And Simon, I'm gonna say this right now, yeah? It's unacceptable if Ruben Amorim lasts the whole season, yeah? And if Ruben Amorim lasts the whole season, this is the club yet again writing off another season. And that can't be happening. To think that we had to go through or went through last season, losing the Europa League final, finishing 15th in the league, and Ruben Amorim embarrassing us, really. If they give him the whole season, this club ain't serious. They're not. They're not serious. I'm giving it until January, until they find a replacement, because they cannot seriously think giving Amorim the full season is acceptable. What has he done to be awarded a full season? That's what I'd like to know. So yeah, for me that can't happen. It can't happen. And I'm glad it's January, because January we're gonna see what Ineos actually think of Amrim. Because if Kobe and Xerxes somehow go and Amarim stays, as I say, I don't advocate for riots or anything like that, but that can't happen for me personally. That can't happen because I can't see Amarim perform the way he has done, falling out with so many people. Yeah, criticizing the youth, embarrassing us week after week, letting an academy product leave the club as well, and letting a player that's highly skilled in Joshua Xerxes that hasn't been used to the best of his ability. They can't all go or them things to happen for this manager to stay because of what? And I've said it already, guys. Manchester United, for me, under this manager, will not finish in the top half of the league. Yeah? And again, I'll say it one more time. If he manages to survive the whole season, Manchester United will not finish in the top half of the Premier League. They have the players to finish in the top 6 minimum, but the manager will always set us back. And as I said, I don't see Man United finishing in the top half with this manager for the full season. I just can't see it, So United will never be a force until we get rid of the Glazers. Yeah, listen, I hear that. I hear that. But I'll keep saying this, yeah? We cannot control the Glazers. The Glazers, unfortunately, are here for as long as they want to be here. Because there's no one that's going to come into the club and try and get them out. It's that simple. If they've been here for that amount of time, yeah, that's where the battle was lost, because they've been here for so long, even in the Ferguson days, and they're still here. So, again, people talking about the Glazers and that, I think it's pointless, because unless they've got the pull to get the Glazers out, it's just wasted energy. But what we can control, or what we can look at, is on the pitch. And there's no one that can tell me otherwise that this manager's failing on the pitch. So, yeah, we might not be a force in terms of winning Champions Leagues under the Glazers, but we can turn things around very quickly with a change of manager. Because I'm telling you now, change of manager, change of system, and you'll find out very quickly that we aren't a million miles away. I promise you. I promise you. Commiserations to the team you thought is going to win the League City, dropping 2 points yesterday. Bro, you know what? I'm glad, and big up to Mamba, I'm glad you're saying this, yeah, because as I said, the season is still a long way to go, yeah? There's still a long way to go. There's 20 games left. And as I said, Arsenal have to go to City, yeah? And they have to go to City and beat them. Again, if Arsenal go to City and beat them, then, and they're in a good position in the league, you probably say, yeah, this is Arsenal's title. But again, Arsenal got a tough game away to Bournemouth, Then they've got Liverpool. And guys, they've still got to play Newcastle away. They've still got to play, what's her name? They've still got to play Chelsea at home. Man United, I'm hoping that we can take some points. So as I said, it's still a long way to go for me and to the season's done. And the fact that City dropped points, but again, you guys drop points to City as well, drop points to Sunderland as well. So it's 5 points in it. And as I said, you guys have a chance to go 8 points clear before, obviously Aston Villa are playing the early game. But you guys have a chance to go, 7 points clear ahead of City before City play Chelsea. So, again, it's in Arsenal's hands at the moment. But I'll tell you this now, there's a long way to go, because when the Champions League starts kicking in, and again, you got tough games in the league. Because all it's going to take, really, because Arsenal are not going to keep up this whole keep winning every game. They're going to drop points, and they're going to drop points more than once. So, as I said, man, at the moment you guys can be content, but there's 20 games left at the end of the season, and it's going to come down to crunch time for Arsenal, and their crunch time for me is probably doing it now, ticking off the games, and they are getting through the games, but as I keep saying, man, there's a long way to go. And the game against City, the Liverpool game as well, They need to beat Liverpool. Because if they drop points to Liverpool and they drop points to Bournemouth, all of a sudden, if City win them 2 games against Chelsea and whoever they're playing next, all of a sudden, it's panic stations, you know? Guys, come on, make sure we're smashing the like and make sure we are subbing to the channel if we're new in here. What's the number they put for the release clause? It is 52 million. Yeah, so 60 million euros, which is 52 million for Bruno Fernandes. Big up to Babs One Diva as well. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. Big up yourselves. So you're giving Ineos too much credit, Gav. They're as shy and as clueless as Scammering. The club's dead and buried because the fans peddle mediocrity. Big up to Black Mojo King. Yeah, listen, I don't disagree with that. I think definitely Ineos. You know, I was willing to give Ineos a chance. You know, in the summer, because I was thinking, look, they've got to sack this manager. That didn't happen. But I was thinking, you know what? Maybe they've got something up their sleeve. I don't know. But to think that Amarim's still here and they haven't pulled the plug yet, yeah, I think all eyes need to be on Ineos for sure. But I'm on the side of this man just surely can't have long left. He can't have long left. And again, I don't particularly enjoy coming on here and going for Ruben Amorim. But he's a massive problem for me. Massive problem. You know, he's a massive problem. And the fact that Ineos just can't see this yet is concerning. But all we can do, man, is just hope. Because I tell you now, this game against Leeds, we're hearing that he won't even get sacked if they get beat. If they get beat by Leeds. So again, what is the end goal with this? That's what I want to know. What is the end goal with Ruben Amorim? Like, how bad does it have to get before they pull the plug? It's crazy. Big up to Baz One Diva with a super sticker. Big up. If City and Arsenal don't win the title and Villa does, I will laugh for a week. You know I'm laughing, yeah, because I've just read a comment, yeah, and I know exactly what the person's gonna say because I've been told this so many times, but I don't see it. So Timothy Mann says, "Do you know Ashton Hall?" I do, and I know what you're gonna say after it as well. But I've heard this so many times. But big up, man, for coming on. Yeah, listen, Man City win the league for me, no doubt. I'm sticking to Man City, you know, because the Semenyo signing for me is gonna be a game changer. Not because Semenyo's a world beater. You're his cousin. That's crazy. Are you seriously his cousin? Yeah, that's crazy. If you are, man, that's crazy. But again, if City, the fact that City are signing Semenyo, it's not a game changer because Semenyo's an outstanding player, but it's what he's gonna bring to their team. Yeah, and again, he's a goal threat. He's got physicality, and as I said, man, I think if you've got him and Doku as the two options out on the left, or they might change it up and go with two of them as out and out wingers, and then play a Cherky in the 10, then I'm telling you now, man, they're gonna be a problem, man. They're gonna be an absolute problem, and yeah, man, it's a game changer for them in that sense, and yeah, I can see them just. I mean, that game against Sunderland, I think in hindsight, it's a very good point because Sunderland are tough at home, but I think against Chelsea, I think they beat. Well, I don't think they'll beat Chelsea at home. Obviously, they're managerless as well. But so as I said, man, I think yeah, they're gonna be there or thereabouts, man, and they're gonna win it for me. If we draw on the match, it may give Amram just a very slight reprieve, but I doubt it. We have to really turn up on the day and not concede first. Calvert-Lewin could be a goal threat. I guarantee you now, Calvert-Lewin scores. You've heard it here first. Calvert-Lewin scores. He scores. Calvert-Lewin looks like he's got a point to prove, and I'm telling you now, he's going to score. If he gets a chance against United, he puts it in the back of the net. You heard it from me first. Arteta will retire Pep. Yeah. What, the guy that's been there for what, 7 years, and has won an FA Cup with Unai Emery's team. He's all of a sudden gonna retire Pep. Yeah, I believe it when I see it, man. I think Pep is gonna force Arteta's hand. That's what I believe. When is that game against Chelsea? Man City, Chelsea are playing on Sunday. Yeah, they're playing on Sunday. At the Etihad, and I think City win that. City will need to win that anyway. But then, can you believe, yeah, if Arsenal draw to Bournemouth tomorrow, and then City beat Chelsea, it will be, what would it be? So it'll be 5 points if they draw. It'll be down to 2 points again, I think. Yeah, down to 2 points. So yeah, and obviously Aston Villa are playing. Aston Villa are playing tomorrow against Nottingham Forest. Again, if they beat them in the early game, then it's back down to 3 points from them to Arsenal. And then obviously Arsenal got to play Bournemouth. So I'm telling you this now, yeah. It's a long way to go, man. Long way to go in this season. Got any bets on Liverpool losing? Nah, man. I betted on them yesterday to beat Leeds. And they let me down, man. I couldn't believe it. They actually let me down. Yeah, they let me down, man. So I'm not gonna bet on them for a little while. I'll be honest. It's all ifs and buts, bro. Okay, listen. I'm loving the energy, Mamba. I'm loving the energy because it's gonna feel so sweet, man, when it all comes crashing down. So listen, you keep it coming, man. You keep it going because, as I said, don't say I didn't tell you because, yeah. I can see the teeth. They look good. Crazy. They're my own teeth as well, you know. Fourth Sunday, 5:30 as I'm going to the game, mate. Are you going to the game? Big up to Tiger King. Listen, I'm going to say City are going to win that game. (3-1). I'm going to say 3-1 City against Chelsea. 3-1. Arsenal will apple crumble the league like usual. Bro, listen, I can't disagree with that, man. I can't disagree. Guys, come on, make sure we're smashing the likes, guys, if you enjoy the content. Make sure you smash the like, make sure you sub to the channel, and make sure you share the channel as well. Let's help this channel to grow, guys. I think I'm 25 short of 1.9k. So again, if you guys haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do, and go and check out all my other content as well. How long do you spend on your teeth? 10 minutes, probably. 10 minutes brushing in the morning, 10 minutes brushing at night. Simple. I'm on the field for the game. What do you mean? What do you mean you're on the field for the game? So Mamba's going for a 3-2 win at Chelsea. Hater. Absolute hater. I think you're hoping, Mamba, rather than... I think you're hoping for a 3-2 win. I think you got that wrong. You're hoping for a 3-2 Chelsea win. Oh, you got pitch side seats, yeah? Big up to Timothy, man. Big up. Let me know when Erling Haaland scores the goals, yeah? What minute is he gonna score in? Because I'll tell you now, man. Yeah, Haaland was quiet against Sunderland, but I think this Chelsea game, I think he comes to life in this game, you know? If Rafinha doesn't get the Chelsea job, then who could get the job? I'm not even too sure. But one thing I'll tell you, yeah, they should not be going for Liam Rafinha. They shouldn't be. I'm not saying Liam Rafinha isn't a promising manager coming through, but Chelsea need a winner. You know, dare I say it, Ancelotti, but obviously he's managing Brazil. But they need to go and get a manager that's gonna basically. Well, again, it's gonna be difficult because from what we're hearing of Maresca, a lot of the things were micromanaged. But for me, I don't think Rafinha is gonna be a good signing. He's a young coach, but is that what Chelsea need right now? I'm not too sure, man. Haaland's out of the Chelsea game. Since when? Who is that being confirmed? I've not seen no news about Haaland being out of the Chelsea game. I've not seen Haaland's out of the Chelsea game. Guys, is that confirmed? Haaland's out of the Chelsea game. No, it hasn't. Pep said he needs to lose some weight. I've not heard that. Is that true? Pep saying that Haaland's got to lose weight. When did he say that? When did he say that? So while there are recent rumours and pundit speculation about Raheem Sterling potentially moving to Man United, what do you think this is? Nah, Sterling's not going United, man. Where's that come from? Sterling, I think, wants to go Fulham. I think they talk about Fulham. Yeah, I think it's going to Fulham. Nah, Turkey won't play up top. I think they'll play Phil Foden probably as a false nine because Marmoush is at AFCON. Or who knows, man? If Semenyo is signed in time, he could be making his debut then quicker than expected. But yeah, no, Turkey won't play up top. Turkey will play on the right again, but they'll probably bring in Reinders and then Foden might play as a false nine. Or because I think did Savinho come off injured? Because I think Doku might start, but Doku will probably play on the left. You never know. You might see a Turkey as a 10, Foden as a false 9, them two linking up, and then having the pace on the flanks of Doku and Savinho. If that is true, that Haaland's out. What happened to Ait Nouri? Yeah, Ait Nouri is at AFCON with obviously him and Marmoush are at AFCON. And again, those two coming back is going to improve that squad. I'm telling you, they're gonna cause problems. Man City when Rodri's back now as well. When the AFCON players come back, and when they sign Semenyo, I'm telling you now, man, all of a sudden they've got some serious options. I was looking at their bench yesterday against Sunderland. Their bench had, who was it? Was it Trafford, Stones, Reinders, Doku? Who else was on the bench? There was someone else on the bench. I can't remember the name. But then you think of Semenyo, Ait Nouri, Marmoush. Rodri was on the bench. And all of a sudden, that bench is looking strong. So, yeah, man. You ain't sweating that bench. All right. Let's see. Quadruple incoming. Loading. Please wait. Quadruple, Quadruple. I mean, I don't really know how you guys can be winning a quadruple when you haven't even won a double. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, Arteta's not even won a... Sorry. Arteta's not even won a double. But yet, you're going straight for the quadruple. Madness. Madness, madness. Focus on one trophy first, man, rather than going for the quadruple. You know, you guys are gonna pull a quad, man. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy. But listen, I'm loving the confidence, member. I'm loving the confidence, man. And as I said, you know, my channel, you know, my mods, we are gonna be here for you, man, when it all comes crashing down. We are gonna be here for you. I promise. You know, you, Lumi, Rain, listen, we're gonna be here for you guys when it all comes crashing down. Because I promise you this now, Lumi has been getting her predictions right. But I promise you this now, you're not winning no league title or no Champions League. I promise you. Promise you. It's all going good at the moment, but it's not going to happen. Arsenal could win the Carabao Cup. But this is the thing. The amount of money that Arteta spent and the squad that he's assembled, they've gone past winning the Carabao Cup. If they win the Carabao Cup, it's just like, well, yeah, you should be winning that. Look at the squad you guys have. It's the Champions League and the league title that everyone's going to be looking at. And that's where the pressure is. So, yeah, listen, Rodri's back. Yep, we'll hear it. Mr. Ballon d'Or in the making as well, Turkey. Yep. Big up Simon. That's what I said. I said Arsenal will finish third. I said Arsenal will finish third as well. I said they're going to finish third. So what's the semi-finals Carabao Cup? Arsenal got Chelsea. I don't think Arsenal get past Chelsea. I can't see it. And obviously the other one's Newcastle and Man City. So yeah, I don't see Arsenal getting past Chelsea over 2 legs. I can't see it. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up in about 5 minutes. So let me know about the Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, that's the title today. You know, obviously his release clause is active. Do you guys think Bruno Fernandes leaves in January, or do you think he stays? Let me know. You think Bruno will go in the summer? Yeah, I hear it. I hear it. But one thing I would say, yeah, why do you think this release clause has been put into his contract then? Like, this release clause was put in there for a reason. Because if there was a possibility of him just definitely going in the summer, you wouldn't really put this clause in the contract for January. So I can only think that the agreement that Bruno had when he signed a new contract, yeah, was because there's someone knows that there's definite interest in him, and possibly in January. Because otherwise, why would this only come active in January? So I just think that there's something's gonna happen. Something has to happen. He's got a release clause there. It's not like you're gonna bid for the player and it gets rejected. If you activate the release clause, you're gone. So yeah, listen, let's not do this about Scott McTominay, man. That's just paper talk nonsense. Man United will not go back in for Scott McTominay. We can put that to bed calmly. Mambo, do you think Arsenal sign anyone in January? Do you think Arsenal get anyone in January? Yeah, big up, man. Big up for coming on. Big up. Yeah, I'm doing well. Happy New Year as well. New Year, 2026. Big things expected. Big things coming on this channel. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, guys. I wonder who we are putting out for the Leeds game and what the formation will be. And it had better not be the same one as in the Wolves game. Do you know what? I'll be honest, yeah. I'm past caring now. I'm checked out of Manchester United and this manager. I don't give a damn what team he picks. It doesn't make a difference. You know, the fact that he took off Joshua Zirkzee at halftime for Fletcher is becoming comical now. So I couldn't give a damn what team he picks. Pick whoever. Play Fletcher. Play whoever. Because this club ain't serious. They're not serious. So I couldn't give a damn what team he plays. That's the actual truth. Jaden Heskey, yeah, Emil Heskey's son. Yeah, he's not gonna play Emil Heskey's son as a striker against Chelsea. He's not. They might be on the bench though. There is talk of Mark Guehi. Yeah, listen, you're not getting Guehi, man. Why would you go and get Guehi, yeah, when you've got Saliba, Gabriel, Mosquito, Hincapié? Why would Guehi go to Arsenal? It wouldn't make no sense. And I believe he's agreed with Liverpool anyway, so I knew City would drop points away at Sunderland. It's Arsenal's title to lose this season. And big up to Diego. This is why they're going to lose it. Because it's in Arsenal's hands. And when it comes to pressure, the pressure games, this is where they're going to fumble. You know? I think credit where credit's due. They're picking up points at the moment. But let's face it. If Aston Villa were more clinical in that first half against them, they would have been out of sight. You know, when Ollie Watkins missed that chance, and there was a couple of more chances they had, I said, you know what? This could come back and bite them. And it did. But if they play up against a Man City, if Man City played against Arsenal and they had the chances that Aston Villa had, City would be out of sight. So, again, yeah, there's a long way to go, man. It's a long way to go. You know, like Man United fans going about their manager, it took Ferguson 4 years to win a trophy. Yeah, it's a loser's mentality, man. I don't even want to hear that. You can't compare Amorim and Ferguson. It's a different time, you know, different expectations. Yeah, I don't want to be hearing that, man. It's just nonsense. It's just excuses for a manager, you know. But guys, listen up. We're gonna wrap it up now anyway. But big up to yourselves for coming on each and every time. As always, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel, and make sure you share the channel as well. So we got 17 likes, guys, and there's 10 of you in there. Again, if you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you do. Helps the channel to grow. And obviously, make sure you check out all the other content as well. As I said, the content is all in playlists, so there's some good playlists on there. There's gonna be a new playlist coming out next week as well. So I got some content that I'm gonna do for next week. Big up to Fitz each and every time. Obviously, it was Fitz's idea, so yeah, I'm gonna do some content for next week, guys. It'll be under a new playlist as well. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. But as I said, make sure you are sharing the channel, guys. Help the channel to grow, and make sure you sub. I think I'm 25 away, as I said, from 1.9k. So and obviously once we're hitting 1.9k, 100 away from 2k. So yeah, obviously it's been a good ride, and obviously 2026. I plan on taking this channel even further. So yeah, make sure you guys keep coming in. Make sure you guys keep supporting the channel. It's much appreciated. And guys, once I get some more members as well onto the channel. Again, if you guys want to become a member, make sure you sign up to become a member as well on the channel. And as I said, once I get a few more members onto the channel, you know, I will be doing some special content for the members as well. So again, yeah, make sure you guys show some support to the channel. it'll be much appreciated. And as I said, yeah, we've got some special things coming up on this channel that I'm just working on at the moment. So yeah, obviously I appreciate you guys' support. But yeah, gonna be back. What's tomorrow? Saturday. If not Saturday, sorry, if not tomorrow, then definitely Sunday. But as always, make sure you guys have your notifications on as well to see when I go live. But yeah, listen, Man United against Leeds on is it on Sunday? Man United Leeds? I think it might be. I think it might be on Sunday. And yeah, I'll be doing a reaction to that game if it is on Sunday. And as I said, it's the Roses derby, and you know it needs to be a win. But we keep saying that every week. The very fact that we got beat by bottom place Wolves, do I think we go to Leeds and beat them? I don't. But just knowing how football is, yeah, you can never rule out anything. So it is what it is, man. But we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. But big up to all the mods. Big up to all the newcomers as well. As I said, smash the likes, sub to the channel, share the channel, and I'll catch you guys over the weekend. Take it easy.